Children playing among weapons in the ruins of Nazi Germany, spring 1945. Parade of Hate, 50,000 Ku Klux Klan members in Washington, 1926. Ian McKellen and Christopher Lee backstage at The Lord of the Rings, 2001. In 1998, a bridge was built over the Choluteca River in Honduras, but Hurricane Mitch shifted the river's course. An Indian elephant used by German soldiers for the front, World War I, 1915. The mummy of Ramses II, the pharaoh who ruled ancient Egypt from 1279 to 1213 BC. Moments before the 25th U.S. President William McKinley was shot by anarchist Leon Czolgosz, 1901. Salvador Dalí, 1947. Representatives of Native American tribes, Navajo, Papago, Apache, and Hopi, sign a document renouncing the use of the traditional symbol of luck and happiness, the swastika, in clothing and jewelry, Arizona, 1940. The kanga used in China to punish criminals for minor offenses, 1910. 2 boards are attached with crimes and punishments. Every day, a person with the kanga on their neck is paraded in public for ridicule. The punishment can last up to 30 days, and the boards must not be removed day or night. A 1951 photograph from the Korean War shows Chinese soldiers kneeling before Korean troops and pleading for mercy. A hut made of mammoth bones found in Ukraine. The structure is about 15,000 years old. Breakup letter from Tupac to Madonna in 1995, written while in Rikers Island prison. He admits that being in a relationship with a white woman could hurt his reputation among fans. A grandmother sees punks for the first time in her life. London, 1982. Gavrilo Princip is detained right after shooting Archduke Ferdinand. Sarajevo, 1914. A wedding in a church destroyed by German shells. London, 1941. Strongman Galen Goff lets a truck drive over him at a California stadium, 1935. This 1959 photo captures the participants of the famous Dyatlov Pass expedition heading into the snowy mist. It is their last known photograph before the tragic events, which remain one of the most mysterious mysteries of the 20th century. Physicist Harold Agnew carries plutonium for the Fat Man atomic bomb to be dropped on Nagasaki, which will claim around 74,000 lives. USA, 1945. In a Japanese village in 1901, girls raised and looked after the younger children in the family so that the parents could work and feed everyone. One of the first surgical procedures using ether as an anesthetic, 1850s. In 1959, the Volkswagen Beetle came with an optional coffee maker, Germany. This is Teresa Adwentowska from Warsaw, severely traumatized by the war. In 1948, in a residence for disturbed children, she drew home on the blackboard. Before releasing a new batch of cigarettes, the manufacturer must ensure they don't kill too quickly. They test cigarettes on those who have no legal rights. As a rule, this leads to an agonizing death. This 19th century photograph shows an Aztec couple who were the last full-blooded representatives of their people ever captured on camera. Bells from Buddhist temples in Kanazawa were confiscated to be melted down for military purposes. Japanese Empire, 1942. Soviet soldiers harass a German woman, Germany, 1945. Is Manute Bol, the tallest player in NBA history. The basketball player's height was estimated at 7 feet 6.9 inches, 231 centimeters. To escape violence, a man fled Burma for Bangladesh, carrying his paralyzed parents 160 kilometers, 100 miles, over 7 days. A young man says goodbye to his grandmother as he leaves for war, circa 1917, World War I. Croatian women display their traditional tattoos. These pagan patterns were worn by Balkan Slavs to avoid forced conversion to Islam. People trying to board a plane during the evacuation of American troops. South Vietnam, 1975. Trainer Yuri Kuklichov losing a chess game to his cat, 1980s. A harsh yet convincing form of punishment for violating military discipline was used on a Soviet guard ship in 1991. Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini, 1941. Skinheads in London, 1980. The unloading of bodies after the ferry Danya Pass collided with an oil tanker in 1987, resulting in about 4,300 deaths, the largest peacetime maritime disaster. The cause of the tragedy was negligence from the crew. There was only one person on the bridge while the rest of the officers were resting, watching TV, and drinking beer. Life vests were locked up, and no ship sent an SOS. Maranasati, a spiritual practice in Hinduism in which one must contemplate the entire process of a corpse's decomposition in order to despise death. Freed prisoners of the Vobalin concentration camp awaiting medical assistance. World War II, Germany, 1945. 8-year-old Christian accepts the flag during the memorial service for his father, who was killed on patrol in Iraq just a few weeks before he was due to return home. A policewoman removing 2 girls from the beach because of the improper appearance of their swimsuits, 1922, USA. Mobile confession, presumably USA, 1940s. The musicians who played on the Titanic until the very end, 1912. German prisoners of war being shown footage from a concentration camp, Germany, 1945. A German soldier returns home and discovers that his house and family are no longer there. Frankfurt, 1946. The Eternal Smile, the Mummy of Hatshepsut, the most powerful female pharaoh in the history of Egypt. Group photo of the crew of the British battleship Hood, After the battle with the Bismarck, only 3 of the 1,415 crew members survived. Chief Ranger Sam Woodring stands next to a house made of deer antlers in Yellowstone National Park, USA, 1928. Miss Italy knocks out Miss Sweden in an international women's boxing match in Stockholm, 1949. Cossacks trained to overcome obstacles on horseback, 1910. At the 1920 Olympics, Teresa Velde became the first woman to perform a Salchow jump, but judges disapproved. Protesters demand that President Truman take action against the execution of people, USA, 1946. U.S. Navy medics listens to the ground with a stethoscope to detect Viet Cong tunnels, Vietnam, 1968. Typhoid Mary, Malin quarantined for life on North Brother Island, New York City, 1915. A lesson in an improvised school, Hiroshima, Japan, 1946. Foreskin or death. A Pakistani soldier checks whether a man is circumcised, i.e., whether he is Hindu or not, during the Bangladesh War of Independence, 1971. Bear treatment for back pain, Romania, 1946. The clock frozen at 8:15 during the bombing of Hiroshima. This 1910 service vehicle was a revolutionary breakthrough for U.S. city infrastructure, replacing simple carts and ladders for maintaining streetlights. German companies supplying the Third Reich during World War II. 15th century underwear found during castle renovations in Lengberg, Austria. A sensational discovery in medieval fashion history. Public punishment of a baker who raised bread prices during a famine caused by flooding, Egypt, 1954. A photo of 2 NASA engineers inside a hangar the size of a 10-story building where blocks with flaps guide the air around the aerodynamic tube at the Ames Research Center, 1960. Sponge vendor, Austria-Hungary, 1904. Photographers shoot an atomic explosion from News Knob Rock, Nevada test site, June 24, 1957. Military leader Geronimo of the Chiricahua Apache, right, who led the fight against the U.S. invasion of his tribe's land for 25 years. In 1886, he was forced to surrender to the U.S. Army. The Football War, 1969, a 6-day military conflict between El Salvador and Honduras. The pretext for the war was the loss of the Honduran team to the Salvadoran team in the playoff matches of the World Cup qualifying stage. People pose on the carcass of a dead whale painted with graffiti. California, 1919. John Spears, leader of the Green Corn Rebellion. In 1917, he and 1,000 farmers planned a march on Washington to overthrow the government and end U.S. involvement in World War I. Paris, France, 1943. Amidst the height of World War II, a researcher at the Museum of Natural History examines an ancient Peruvian mummy, proving that science endures, even during the occupation. An exam at a high school in the Chinese city of Wuhan, 2008. August 17, 1896, saw the first recorded pedestrian accident in the world. This marked the beginning of fatal traffic accidents. Shocked Soviet soldiers stand near a large pile of human ashes at the Majdanek concentration camp in 1944. The first image of people in a photograph happened by accident, taken in 1838. The largest found dicot leaf in the Amazon rainforest, South America. 1935. Engineers and laborers on a pipeline segment over the canyon at the Hoover Dam construction site. There are no safety ropes or helmets, only suits, hats, and a stoic look for the camera. An arrested Saddam Hussein, Iraq, 2003. American burlesque dancer Miss Zorita walks her snake, 1940s. In the 1870s, the KKK was officially banned and went underground, but in 1915 the organization resumed open activities. About 6 million people joined its ranks. Lynchings in the U.S. continued. French Catholic clergy in Dijon burning an effigy of Santa Claus in front of children in protest against the pagan Christmas, 1951. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon calling their moms after winning the Oscar for Good Will Hunting, 1997. Hitler Youth forces Jews to wash the streets, Vienna, 1938. During the settlement of the western regions of North America, there were mostly men living there. In the photo, 4 men from Montana posted a notice on their house saying they were looking for wives. Early 20th century. Menthol cocaine, 4 coughs, 1911. Instructions say to take 1 lozenge every 2 hours. A concert recording on an audio tape recorder, Poland, 1980s. May 18, 1940, New York. A man holds a newspaper with the headline, Nazi troops 75 miles from Paris. American helicopter pushed into the sea to make room for more refugees during Operation Frequent Wind in Saigon, 1975. Due to a pilot's mistake, supplies intended for a women's battalion were dropped. Southern Rhodesia, 1980. British women working in munitions factories were nicknamed canaries because TNT exposure turned their skin yellow. This toxic work caused severe liver damage, yet they produced 80% of the UK's WWI weaponry. Germany wins on all fronts. Inscription on the Eiffel Tower during the occupation. Uzbek schoolgirls during a math lesson, Tashkent, Turkestan Soviet Republic, 1921. Dice made of human bones, found during a search of the home of Ed Gein, American serial killer, necrophile, and body snatcher. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in U.S. history. Police remove bodies from the Amityville house. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo killed his father, mother, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. This story later became the basis for many horror books and films. A doctor assists excited fans of the Beatles during their concert. USA, 1964. The symbol of the Ku Klux Klan became white suits and masks. Klan members burned crosses and terrorized their victims. In total, over 130,000 black people, Jews, and Asians suffered. The Klan was only definitively disbanded in 1944. American submarine rescuing a pilot shot down by the Japanese. Future U.S. President George H.W. Bush, 1944. High society girls dressed in the latest fashion. Paris, 1910s. A newspaper seller selling the latest edition, 1939. Photo of total solar eclipse on July 11, 1991, Chiapas, Mexico. The most common goods in the store window, prosthetics. Post-war London, 1946. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.